Hey everybody, welcome to another captivating adventure with VueX, y'all. This time we're taking you on a whirlwind 2-week trip down the East Coast. Buckle up, because we're about to hit some serious landmarks and eat some seriously delicious food. We're talking iconic cities, historical sites, and enough culture to make your head spin. But in a good way. I'm talking about the kind of good way that makes you want to dance. Speaking of dancing, we might not have time for that on this trip, but trust me, you'll be moving and grooving through some of the most exciting destinations in America. So, pack your bags, grab your walking shoes, and maybe an extra suitcase for all the souvenirs you're going to want to buy, because this is one adventure you won't want to miss. Get ready to be wowed by the energy of New York City, the history of Philadelphia, and the charm of Charleston, just to name a few. I'm so excited for you to experience the magic of the East Coast. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be amazed by the journey ahead. All right, folks, let's kick off this epic adventure in the city that never sleeps, New York City. Drop your bags at your hotel. You're gonna need comfortable shoes for all the walking we're about to do. Now let's hit the ground running, literally. Grab a subway ticket and head straight to Times Square. It's bright, it's busy, it's everything you've ever heard about and more. Snap a selfie with all the flashing lights because you're officially in the heart of it all. Next up, let's trade in the concrete jungle for a real one, Central Park. This green oasis is perfect to catch your breath and people watch. For the grand finale, meet Lady Liberty herself. Standing at the feet of this majestic monument is unforgettable. Get ready for another jam-packed day in the city that never sleeps. Today we're diving headfirst into the art and culture scene of New York City. First stop, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, or as I like to call it, the Met. Trust me, you could spend days getting lost in this place and still not see everything. From ancient Egyptian artifacts to iconic paintings by Van Gogh and Monet, the Met has something for everyone. And hey, if you need a little break from all that art appreciation, you can always grab a coffee and a pastry at one of their cafes. Next up, get ready for breathtaking views from the top of the Empire State Building. Take the elevator up to the observation deck and prepare to be wowed by the panoramic views of the city. You can see everything from here, folks. Central Park, the Statue of Liberty, even New Jersey. And of course, no trip to New York City would be complete without trying a real New York slice. Grab a slice or two from a local pizzeria and fold it in half just like the locals do. It's the only way to eat it, trust me. So you've conquered the Big Apple, strolled through Central Park, maybe even hailed a cab in Times Square. Now, we're trading New York for Philly cheesesteak vibes. Hopping on an Amtrak to Philadelphia, the birthplace of America. Enjoy the relaxing train ride. First stop, the iconic Liberty Bell, then Independence Hall where history was made. End the day with a Philly cheesesteak. Pro tip, ask for it with or without onions. It's a Philly thing. Good morning, Philadelphia. I hope you're ready for another day of fun because we're diving headfirst into the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And don't even try to run up those famous rocky steps. Just kidding, you gotta do it. Just maybe pace yourself, all right? We don't want any pulled hamstrings on this trip. Inside those museum walls, you'll find everything from Van Gogh to Warhol, and trust me, it's way more fun than an art history class. Now I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, I got you covered. We're heading over to Reading Terminal Market, a foodie paradise where you can find every kind of deliciousness imaginable. We're talking about fresh produce, handmade chocolates, and of course, more Philly cheesesteaks. Because you can never have too many Philly cheesesteaks. Am I right? It's like a law or something. So, grab a bite, soak up the atmosphere, and get ready for another adventure tomorrow. Pack your bags and grab your selfie sticks because today we're saying DC, here we come. That's right, we're hopping on another Amtrak and heading to our nation's capital. Get ready to be wowed by iconic landmarks like the White House, the Lincoln Memorial, and the Washington Monument. It's like walking through a history book, except you can actually take pictures. And who knows, you might even bump into a politician or two. After you've had your fill of politics and history, it's time to immerse ourselves in the world of art, history, and culture at the Smithsonian Museums. And the best part? They're completely free. Free like a dance party in your living room. From space shuttles to dinosaur bones, there's something for everyone. By the end of the day, your brain will be full, your heart will be happy, and your feet might be a little bit sore. But hey, that's the price you pay for an epic adventure, right? Welcome to day 6, everybody. You know what they say, it's good to be president, but it's even better to be in Washington, D.C. Today's all about feeling presidential, minus the Secret Service chasing you down for taking an extra mini bottle of water from the hotel. First up, the White House. Next, pay your respects at the Lincoln Memorial. It's one impressive monument, and you might even feel inspired to give a speech. But maybe save it for the karaoke bar later, a smaller crowd. And for lunch, let's ditch the fancy restaurants and hit up some local food trucks. Because nothing says presidential like scarfing down a delicious barbecue sandwich between meetings, right? Get ready for day 7, everyone, because we're off to Baltimore. It's called Charm City, but don't worry, you won't need your lucky rabbit's foot for this adventure. Our first stop is the Inner Harbor, and let me tell you, it's buzzing with more excitement than a beehive at a honey festival. We're talking shops, restaurants, and maybe even some singing pirates. Okay, I might have made that last part up, but you never know. Now, get ready to dive into a whole other world at the National Aquarium. We're talking sharks, jellyfish, and more fish than you can shake a fishing rod at. Just try not to get too attached to the dolphins. They're not coming home with us. Although, wouldn't that be a fun souvenir? After all that excitement, you've definitely earned a delicious Maryland crab cake. Hold on to your hats, folks, because day 8 in Baltimore is going to be epic. We're diving into history, harbor views, and, of course, more of those crab cakes you can't stop talking about. Don't worry, I won't judge you if you order seconds or thirds. First up, Fort McHenry. This isn't just any fort, it's the fort that inspired the Star-Spangled Banner. So get ready to feel patriotic and maybe even burst into song. Just kidding, you don't have to, but if you do, please tag me in the video. After soaking up all that history, take a stroll around the harbor and enjoy the views. Maybe even try to spot some wildlife. Who knows? You might even see a real-life pirate searching for buried treasure. Or maybe just seagulls fighting over French fries, which is almost as exciting. And for dinner, you guessed it, more crab cakes. Because one can never have too many crab cakes in Baltimore. It's basically against the law. Or at least it should be. Welcome to Richmond, y'all. Or as I like to call it, history with a side of sweet tea. We're trading in our northern hustle for a bit of southern charm today. First up, the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. Don't worry, I checked. They have comfy benches. You know me, I love a good museum. But sometimes those floors feel like a marathon. This place has everything from ancient Roman busts to dazzling impressionist paintings. And speaking of masterpieces, let's talk about your hotel. For just $140 a night, you'll be living in southern comfort. That's right, a comfy bed, maybe a porch swing, and definitely some sweet tea in the lobby. Oh, and we're renting a car today, folks. $50 a day to cruise around like a true southerner. Just promise me you'll practice your best y'all at the drive-thru. Hold on to your hats, folks, because today we're diving headfirst into American history at the American Civil War Museum. Now, I know history isn't always pretty, but it's important to learn from it. Plus, this museum has all the good stuff. Battle maps, uniforms, and maybe even a cannon or two. And after all that serious thinking, we're gonna need some serious comfort food. And when I say comfort food, I mean Southern BBQ. We're talking ribs that fall off the bone, pulled pork piled high on a bun. Remember, we're still cruising in our rental car, so feel free to loosen your belt a notch. We're on vacation, y'all. And speaking of vacation, that reminds me. You know those little travel-sized toiletries they give you at hotels? I always take them, even if I don't need them. Gotta stock up. Tonight, we're back at our cozy $140 a night haven. Rest up those feet because tomorrow we're off to Charleston. Charleston, South Carolina. Get ready for cobblestone streets, charming houses painted in every color of the rainbow, and enough history to make your head spin. But first things first, we gotta get there. We're talking a quick and easy domestic flight for just $100. That's less than a pair of designer sunglasses. And trust me, the memories in Charleston are way more stylish. Once we land, we're checking into our home for the next 2 nights, a charming hotel just a stone's throw from the historic district. For $170 a night, you'll be living the good life, Charleston style. Think balconies overlooking the bustling streets, maybe a courtyard with a fountain, and definitely some sweet tea in the lobby. Speaking of the historic district, that's where we're headed first. Get ready to wander down streets that feel like they're frozen in time, past grand mansions with sprawling porches and hidden gardens bursting with flowers. And don't forget to snap a selfie or two, because Charleston is basically one giant Instagram filter waiting to happen. Welcome back to day 12 of our East Coast adventure. You guys, can you believe we're in Charleston already? Time flies when you're having fun and eating your way through America. Today, we're diving deep into the heart and soul of South Carolina. Get ready for some serious Southern hospitality. First up, we're heading to Fort Sumter, and this isn't just any fort, people. This is where the first shots of the Civil War were fired. Can you imagine the history? You'll be walking in the footsteps of soldiers, feeling the weight of the past, and probably taking a selfie or two. Don't worry, I won't judge. Now, after all that history, you're gonna be hungry, right? Well, get ready for some low-country cuisine. We're talking shrimp and grits. Don't forget the sweet tea, y'all. It's basically a food group down here. And tonight, treat yourself to some real Southern comfort food. Fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese. Listen, I know we're supposed to be watching our figures on this trip, but it's Charleston, people. Live a little. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Savannah. It's like stepping back in time in the best way possible. This city is full of Southern charm, beautiful architecture, and those iconic Spanish moss-draped trees. You just want to grab a glass of sweet tea and sit on a porch swing, you know? First up, Forsyth Park. It's like the Central Park of Savannah, only smaller and with a really cool fountain. Take a stroll, have a picnic, maybe even take a nap under a tree. You're on vacation. After that, get lost in the historic district. And I mean that in the best way possible. It's full of cobblestone streets, charming squares, and antebellum architecture. It's so beautiful, you'll forget you're lost. Until you get hungry, then it's back to that sweet tea and a hearty Southern meal. Speaking of food, Savannah has some of the best Southern cooking around. We're talking shrimp and grits, fried green tomatoes, and peach cobbler that'll make you want to slap your mama. But only with love, of course. Get ready for a day of exploring the more, shall we say, historical side of Savannah. Don't worry, it's not all ghosts and goblins, though there are plenty of ghost stories in this town. We're starting with a trip to Bonaventure Cemetery. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ellen, a cemetery? On vacation? But trust me on this one. This place is stunning. It's like an outdoor museum with beautiful sculptures, Spanish moss, and stories whispered through the ages. Plus, it's a great place to get some peace and quiet. After you've paid your respects and maybe had a little chat with a ghost or two, just kidding, unless it's time to indulge in some Southern comfort food. You're gonna need it after all that walking. Savannah is known for its down-home cooking. Think fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, and biscuits so fluffy they'll make you want to cry. And don't even get me started on the peach cobbler. Oh my goodness, the peach cobbler. Tonight, maybe find one of those ghost tours. Who knows, maybe you'll get to tell a ghost story on next week's show. And that's a wrap on our epic 2-week East Coast adventure. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a nap. And maybe a whole pizza. Speaking of which, let's talk about the cost of this trip. For 2 people, you're looking at around $6,000 to $7,000 total, which breaks down to about $3,000 to $3,500 per person. That includes everything: flights, accommodation, food, activities, and even some souvenirs. Now, what to pack? Comfortable shoes are a must. You'll be doing a lot of walking. Layers are key too, as the weather can be unpredictable. Don't forget your camera to capture all those Instagram-worthy moments. And sunscreen. The best time to visit the East Coast is in the spring or fall for milder weather. But honestly, each season has its own charm. So what are you waiting for? Start planning your East Coast adventure today. And be sure to let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see more itineraries like this one. Maybe we'll tackle the West Coast next, or even Europe. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more travel inspiration. And until next time, safe travels from your travel buddy, VueX.